Welcome, aspiring Martians. If you've ever looked up at the red speck in the sky and thought, yeah, I could totally live there, then you've come to the right place. Today, we're taking a deep dive into humanity's big move to Mars. Grab your spacesuit, a can of enthusiasm, and maybe some oxygen because we're heading off-planet. Here's everything you need to know about turning Mars into our next cosmic Airbnb. SpaceX's ambitious plan. Elon's dream or reality? Elon Musk, our favorite tech billionaire who's always a couple of rocket launches ahead of everyone else. Musk is on a mission to make humanity a multiplanetary species, and Mars is at the top of his places to settle list. SpaceX's Starship, a fully reusable 165-foot-tall spacecraft, is set to make this dream a reality, with initial missions slated for as early as 2024 if everything aligns perfectly, including Earth and Mars, which only get chummy every 26 months. Starship's plan involves launching from Earth, hopping to Mars, and back again. Think of it as a cosmic Uber, but with significantly more firepower. SpaceX aims to set up a propellant production plant on Mars to refuel using local resources like carbon dioxide and water ice. That's right. This ambitious plan is basically Elon's off-world fuel station idea come to life. The science of living on Mars. Just how crazy is it? Once we get to Mars, the real fun begins, by which I mean the battle against gravity, radiation, and good old-fashioned loneliness. With gravity only a third of what we're used to, moving around will be like doing ballet underwater, except less graceful. NASA suggests using pressurized rovers so that astronauts can cruise around and conduct research without too much physical strain. And let's not forget about radiation. Mars doesn't have the thick atmosphere we Earthlings are spoiled with. Instead, it has cosmic rays that would love nothing more than to give us all an unwelcome tan. Researchers are exploring habitat designs that can use Martian soil or underground lava tubes to help protect future residents. SpaceX's Starship prototype. Tests and tribulations. To make Mars a little less of a death trap, SpaceX has been busy testing Starship prototypes. This year, prototypes such as SN5 and SN6 were launched to test high-altitude capabilities, reaching 500 feet in the Texas skies. SN8, an even bigger prototype, aims to soar 12 miles up, providing a glimpse into the next generation of Mars transport. These test flights, while not without hiccups, have been vital for refining the technology. SN8, in particular, includes a nose cone and aerodynamic surfaces intended for controlling the descent phase, critical for landing on Mars. Each test helps SpaceX assess everything from launch systems to the heat shields that will protect the spacecraft during re-entry. Despite multiple prototypes being lost during testing, SpaceX is known for its iterative approach, meaning each test failure contributes valuable lessons for the subsequent design, making progress toward reliable Mars missions possible. The next few decades, colonizing Mars. Elon Musk isn't satisfied with just sending people to Mars. He wants to send 1 million of us over the next 50 to 100 years. Musk envisions a fleet of starships making regular round trips, each carrying around 100 to 200 people. If his math checks out, it'll take about 10,000 flights to get 1 million settlers on Mars. Talk about an airline miles program. Each ship will take about 115 days to make the journey, though Musk hopes to eventually shrink that to just 30 days. The entire process requires an extraordinary logistical effort, including coordinating with international partners and building supporting infrastructure on Mars like greenhouses for food, energy production facilities, and medical support systems. Musk also plans to make Mars a place where people can thrive, not just survive, which will involve importing technology from Earth to create conditions similar to those of home. However, given Mars' limited resources, self-sufficiency will be a critical goal, with initial settlers needing to rely heavily on Earth-based resupplies until local in-situ resource utilization systems are fully operational. NASA's Mars plans. A month of Martian madness. NASA has a slightly less rock and roll plan compared to SpaceX. The agency envisions sending astronauts to Mars for a 30-day stay, starting with a mission that may come as early as the late 2030s. 4 crew members will travel in a habitat-like spacecraft, with 2 touching down on Mars while the others remain in orbit, Apollo style. This initial mission aims to maximize scientific returns while minimizing risks. To ensure the safety of astronauts, NASA is considering hybrid propulsion systems combining chemical and electric thrusters to ferry astronauts to Mars more efficiently. A crucial part of the plan involves sending supplies ahead of time, including an ascent vehicle that the crew will use to leave the Martian surface and rendezvous with an orbiter for their return to Earth. While NASA's timeline may be more conservative, its focus on safety and incremental development aims to establish a sustained human presence on Mars, eventually paving the way for longer stays and permanent outposts. Other players enter the game: Relativity Space and Impulse Space. While SpaceX is leading the charge, other companies are gearing up to compete. Relativity Space and Impulse Space are planning a mission for 2024 involving a commercial Mars lander. The Terran R rocket by Relativity is 3D printed, which helps speed up the production process and reduce costs. Impulse Space, meanwhile, focuses on last-mile payload delivery. Imagine being the UPS of space cargo. This collaboration represents an important shift in the space industry, moving away from government-dominated exploration toward a more commercially driven model. With $1 billion in funding, Relativity Space is aiming to develop launch facilities at U.S. Air Force and NASA installations, and its 3D printing technology could revolutionize rocket manufacturing by drastically cutting down build times and reducing supply chain bottlenecks. Meanwhile, Impulse Space, which specializes in orbital maneuvering vehicles, brings expertise in payload delivery that could enhance the efficiency and cost-effectiveness of future Mars missions. Together, they exemplify how innovation and private investment are becoming crucial components of humanity's push to explore Mars. Fueling our future on Mars: the propellant problem. One of the biggest challenges for Mars colonization is figuring out how to get back to Earth, or, not end up stranded and starting a Martian civilization by accident. SpaceX plans to use Martian water ice and atmospheric CO2 to make liquid methane and oxygen. This propellant will not only make return trips possible, but also reduce costs. Something that's crucial if Musk's million-person colony is ever going to happen. The technology for producing propellant on Mars is called in situ resource utilization, and SpaceX plans to use the Sabatier reaction to convert CO2 and water into methane and oxygen. This concept is a cornerstone of Musk's plan, as it cuts the cost of transporting fuel from Earth to Mars, making the colony economically viable in the long run. However, challenges remain. Researchers still need to determine the distribution of water ice on Mars and develop reliable systems that can operate autonomously in the harsh Martian environment. Nevertheless, if successful, these ISRU systems could turn Mars into a refueling station for deeper space exploration missions. Surviving Martian winters and dust storms. Climate realities. Mars is a beautiful place, sure, but it has its bad sides, like deadly dust storms that engulf the entire planet for weeks. Not to mention winters that make Antarctica look like Miami Beach. Settlers will need shelters that can withstand these extreme conditions, potentially built with local resources like Martian regolith, soil, or brought along as prefabricated habitats. The Martian atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide and very thin, with temperatures plummeting as low as -125 degrees Celsius, -195 degrees Fahrenheit during winter nights. Dust storms can reduce sunlight by over 99%, posing a significant challenge for solar power. NASA and SpaceX are both exploring the idea of nuclear power as an alternative energy source that could provide consistent energy during these storms. Engineers are also designing habitats with double layers and thermal controls to protect settlers from the biting cold and radiation. Despite these challenges, the prospect of living on Mars is an incredible testament to human resilience and our desire to explore the unknown. Thanks for joining me on this journey through humanity's future on Mars. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a comment below and let me know, would you take a one-way ticket to Mars? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars.